Aurora nearly on the board early. Jackson Kirk leads this team in goal scoring with 21 goals on the year. They have 6 players in double digits. He leads the way. Sedlacek with 15 is second, followed by Ackle with 13, Davis with 12, and Schmuck, there's a cover by Garvey. Boy, he didn't see that one real well either, had to struggle to hold it down. Maybe some early game jitters here. And then Connor Ronayne also with 10 on the season. They've got a couple of folks with 9 and 8, so we know this team can fill the back of the net. They're averaging .486 per game. Green Knights not half bad either, .429, but it's not .486. St. Norbert a little better defensively on the year, allowing .204 versus .225 for Aurora. Two very evenly matched teams here at the Cornerstone tonight. Over to the near side for Beam. Knights toss it up. Dombrowski played it down perfectly. Slides it over for Lindstrom, whose stick was being lifted as the Knights raced into the Aurora zone, and a huge hit put on the play that time by Morris. Goodness gracious, he took Hassan Ackle down on the near side. Centering pass, he fumbles it. Knights looking to get it. Hansen overskated for a moment. Now Alvey has it back for Hansen. Hansen for Ethan Byrne in the corner. Byrne has been excellent of late. Morris up for Deics. Actually, all season he's been pretty good. Off a leg now, Morris will retreat into his end. Up to Hansen quickly. Hansen tipped by Schmidt to the corner, but the Knights will chase it there. Burns the first one on it. Burns going to be double teamed. Knights making a change behind the play and still manage to hold on to the puck. Skipped over near side. Mitchell takes the shot, save made. That certainly didn't seem to go above and beyond what has been typical. Okay. They're calling that pretty tight then, hopefully, tonight, because that was a tight one. This is a very good Aurora power play. And they win the draw. Back to Ackle now, near side. Played up into the rafters here by Santa Lucia on deflection. And they'll face it off to my right-hand side in the near circle. Schmidt on the draw. He'll go up against Alvey for the Green Knights on this power play. The Aurora power play up around 29% on the year. As that puck's tied up in the corner near side. Only one of their goals against Adrian last week was on the man advantage. As that'll be sent the length of the ice by St. Norbert. Killers include Morris out there with Deics, Alvey, and Dombrowski. 1:33 left on the man advantage, and Santa Lucia will carry all the way in. He's got Schmidt there with him. Knocked off his stick, but Sedlacek carries to the goal line. Sedlacek pinned hard to the boards that time by Morris. He's really brought the thunder here early on, and the Knights get that one in the dot and clear it. That's Deics on the blast. 1:12 left in the power play. So the Neskak throwing things into disarray early on. As the student section, Dombrowski lays his man out, and the students love that. Alvey with room, shot wide. Didn't get that one on net. Knocked out of the air by Deics, touched by Aurora, so Deics can recover. Knights again laying body behind the net. Alvey loses it out of the zone. Morris will backtrack out, and the rest of the mates will follow. Swatted the length of the ice. This is an easy icing call, and no, they're going to say it was tipped. My apologies. Didn't see that occur on the near wall. Knights play it to the near corner. Hansen's going to chase after it. First one there, however, is Jackson Hay, and Hay will reverse to the near side. That's Condor to keep it moving. Alvey ends up banking it into the Aurora bench. I think the Knights just frustrated. They had some opportunities there and either didn't connect or sent it wide of the net. against O'Donnell. Can't afford to miss those opportunities in a game like this when you know your opposition won't miss those opportunities. The Knights have been extremely, and the Knights play it out. So Aurora pushing back after the Knights had a flurry offensively that did not result in a goal. Broda tried to backhand a little quick one out front. Now Ronayne, and sent wide by Lipset, but back to the corner. Dombrowski, a little tip across the line, played right back his way though. Lipset pucked out of the air by the Knights, tipped then by Beam to keep a turnover from happening there, and blocked by a body in front. I think that was Deics. Knights struggling right now to get the puck out of their zone. Beam takes a hit as he touches it up, manages to get it up to Dombrowski along the wall, and he's attacked, but it comes right down to Hansen, who sent it wide as it dropped to the ice level. Hansen goes in, forces a turnover to Dombrowski on that hard hit on the wall. Hansen's got it, spins it in front, they score! Blake Alvey! Blake Alvey, I believe, got the tip as Hansen slid it netward. Blake Alvey poked it on a redirect, and the Knights have a 1-0 lead in the championship game. Getting traffic in front, making it difficult on the goaltender O'Donnell. It's exactly what Alvey and the Knights did there, and a perfect slide to Alvey on the play. That goal at 12:24. Periods 2 and 3. Working on a surprise guest for in between periods 1 and 2. And I can't guarantee that's going to happen, but Knights pick it up on the near wall, up for Lindstrom. He'll backhand out to neutral. Off the stick of Beam, and picked up by Dombrowski. Dombrowski shoots on net. Save was made O'Donnell. And it's going to be picked up and cleared by the Spartans. This is an icing. He didn't get to the red line, so that was not a smart play there. Knights were able to win the race to the puck. That was Morris. Don't know what the thought process was there that time. They had one more step to the red, essentially. Tried to pitch it high enough maybe to allow his teammate to win the race to the puck, but didn't happen. Hammond's got the draw, so why not face it off right back rather than sitting right in with the students where they would have been the only non-Green Knight fans. Played over to the near side to Ackle here now on the near wall, but it's picked off. What a read there by Hansen. Make that Ginger to hold it in. Now Kufis drives his man to the glass. Puck is sent through, and great job by Ginger to avoid the too many men by getting the feet up and into the bench area. Knights play it. Portillo, and pushed up onto the stick of Deics. Hooked at a bit from behind by Code. Not much there. Riley takes his man out behind the net, but skating out of the zone with it with a little bit of speed is Ronayne. Lindstrom's stick. Great play by Lipset after he fumbled the first one away. That got up near the face. In fact, Gilman had his mask come unsnapped. Knights move it in. Beam. It's picked up now by Hammond, and that's broken up. Possible 2-on-1. Knights are back in time. Good hustle by the Knights to get back in play as Jackson Kirk played it on the wall. Dombrowski feeds it up and out of the zone. Taken by Aurora. Gilman took that shot as he was standing in front of his goaltender right up into the cage. That's a big save there by Garvey as that shot toward the far post by Jackson Hay came on. Knights up for Ginger. They're going to say no icing as Many Gray Horses was making contact with Ginger on the play. And Ginger out-races and outworks him to the puck. Came out front, off, and Aurora stick and on net. Quick reaction for O'Donnell. It was Jackson Hay out front, the defenseman, and get a little bit of a fracas. I tell you what, Many Gray Horses had no interest in battling Ginger for that puck on the near side. No penalties coming on that altercation. 2:22 left in the first. The Knights up 1-0 here at the Cornerstone. Perhaps the final contest for
turn at 18:37.
There you have it, officially from Dan. Goodness, Beam unfortunately just on the wrong side of the goal line, and so that puck started just about on the goal line, but was actually working its way further away from the post. Morris sends that wide. Knights send right back out front with Alvey circling. Came his way from Byrne in the corner. Now Byrne goes to get it again. Green Knights have out-physicaled and outworked Aurora in this hockey game. And here they come again, laying the body. And the hits can't be close. 2-on-2 for the Knights now the other way. A little wrister save is made as Hansen make that. Byrne slid that one on net. Knocked down by Byrne in the neutral zone. They're going to say he played it with a high stick. So when he touched it, it was an infraction. Keeps the face-off in the neutral zone. 2.6 left. Actually, they'll carry the face-off to the Green Knight end. I was just watching an NHL game, I think it was yesterday. The Kings were scored upon. I'm trying to recall who they were playing against at the time. The Kings were scored upon in the final 1 second as this is banked off the near wall. Santa Lucia fell down. The Knights and Spartans are mixing it up a little bit. Referees blow the whistle. The Knights will head off with a 2-0 lead here at the end of one. Anyway, it is Byrne battling for it with Alvey now. Byrne, Alvey, Hansen line starting it out. They decide to flip it up instead for Deics. Past Alvey behind the net. Popped in the air. Alvey swats it down. Sitting in the corner, the Knights reach it. Tipped up and out. Deics sent it in from the wrong side, and he hit his teammate. Byrne, as if it wasn't bad enough that he's laying on the ice, he gets the banker off the far wall to hit him and force the offside call with 19:08 left in period number 2. And the Green Knights really looking to capitalize on the momentum they carried out of that first period of play. And on the draw, the Knights do force it across the blue. It's sent right back out, and that'll be an offside. And again, the Knights hit their own teammate. Beam on the wrong side of the blue there that time as the puck contacted him up high. And they'll draw it again in neutral ice. Those of you who are listening right now and watching and thought you'd get Chris Spearing also today, well, Chris Spearing's daughter, Reese Spearing, the starting goaltender for the Green Bay Ice Bears, who went down to state and won for the second consecutive year with Reese Spearing in the pipes, and Chris got to enjoy that as a goalie dad. I know he was nervous. Here's Schmuck dropping it off for Davis. Not because he didn't believe in Reese, just because being a goalie dad is a nightmare probably any day, but when you're in the state championship. Knocked down by Morris, so that's the reason no Chris Spearing tonight. He's going to get back into town close to the end of this broadcast. Hopefully be greeted with good news. Schmuck at the center line, carries to the blue, tipped off his stick by Morris, who's attacking on that far side on Davis and forces it outside the zone. Diaz will send it right back in. The Green Knights have brought the physicality tonight. Here's Riley, left side of the left circle as he ducks the shoulder, then reverses. Riley trying to get the cycle started back to Severson. That one through traffic and got the chest of O'Donnell, and he will smother. 17:56 left in the second period. 2-0. You coming into these games, and if you're like me, as a big fan, obviously, and a member of the St. Norbert up 3-0. Looking to add to their advantage. Don't forget, the Knights went up 5-0 down in Aurora and had to hang on 5-3. This team can score. Both teams can score. And the Knights have been doing it here tonight. Deics gets it back above the circle. Little two-man game out high. Drop for Portillo to curve. Portillo sends far side. Chance on. Save made as Byrne sent it right off the pillows there that time. Kufis will work it back around for Byrne. Second unit out there right now. Byrne drops for Deics. 5-on-3. Deics fires wide, and it gets out of the zone. 31 left on the 5-on-3, and the Knights will have another minute of 5-on-4. Slid near side for Deics. Across for Kufis. Into the corner, Byrne. Near side, Portillo. Back up high for Byrne. 14 left in the 5-on-3. Blocking at that time was Lipsit. Knights up for Deics. Low again for Portillo. Now for Byrne. Oh, one-timer. Boy, it was tipped on its way. I think that was Alvey who got a piece of that. Now it's 5-on-4. Deics. Low again for Portillo. Now for Byrne. Oh, one-timer. Boy, it was tipped on its way. I think that was Alvey who got a piece of that. Now it's 5-on-4. 55 on the clock. Deics on net. Eaten up by O'Donnell with 50 left on the power play. This is a potential energy boost for Aurora. If they can kill off a significant 5-on-3 in its entirety, that usually adds some jam to the team. Let's get the scoring.
Score by number 15, Ryan Ginger, is 7th of the year. Assist to number 12, Trevor Mitchell, and number 25, TJ Kufis. Ginger from Mitchell and Kufis at 2:13.
By Deics up for Hansen, finds a lane, and a pillow save had to be made. 2 seconds left on the power play. More body contact on the far wall. That might be the first time a Green Knight has fallen tonight. Power play is over, 0 for 2. Let's see if this gives a little momentum or energy to this Aurora unit, having killed 11:29 remaining here in period number 2. Moberg blows his whistle. They'll get set over in the far corner. Knights track it down. Far side, Hammond. Knights were tied up on that far wall, and rightly so. Bigwood calls off the icing. He's been very attentive to any contact that would clear icing. Overridden multiple times tonight. Hay was cut off by Kufis, so the Knights can assume possession. Hammond to the far corner and chipped up for Kufis. Kufis one on the tender. Kufis collects and sends wide. Oh, he had a hard time getting that up to his forehand, and by the time he did, it was wide of the net. Here's Hammond behind. He'll turn and fire. O'Donnell got the shoulder save. So close for Kufis there that time. He hung in there. He could easily have skated that one back behind the net, but he ended up getting a decent opportunity even with the difficulty that he had. Puck behind the net. Paddled up. Glove down by Hansen. He's flying. Here's Hansen to the center line. Hansen to the blue. Works his way to the corner. Centers. It's sitting there for Alvey. Couldn't quite get there. Loose in the slot and handled by Aurora. Out they come 3-on-3. Knights will be happy to work the cycle here. Kufis and Hammond in the corner. Comes to Kufis. Kufis sends a cross for Fleming charging in, and he pushed that wide. The Knights got it. Here's Beam, and we got a whistle as the net is off its moorings. They are debating right now, is there a change or no change? No change. They're finally, Moberg didn't indicate at first, and again, the communication for the officials, well, they've got 7 bodies out there right now when they weren't allowed to change. I think 17 was out there. He should stay out there. That's Landry Schmuck. They let somebody on here, but that's the problem. So Moberg didn't indicate immediately, and Jones had to look back and ask all the while Aurora was sending guys to their bench. And at this point, with this much time taken, as now they're going to have to work on the post, it really doesn't matter. So much time on the stoppage. Whoever was out there could take a shower and come back out, perhaps, before they get this resolved. With 5:14 left in our second period. You know, we talked about these two teams splitting back in November. And, well, those games obviously count and matter just like any other in the conference. These two teams were very different teams in November. And that's just the way it is for any teams once you get to the postseason. Unless you played a week ago or a couple weeks ago, there's been evolution in each of these squads. Aurora's evolution was having the conference wrapped up, or so it seemed at one point, and then taking a couple of crucial losses down the stretch. Lindstrom sends to the corner. Knights get it, and Beam will fire high and wide of the upper corner far side. Deics stands his man up so Beam can get to the puck. Beam harassed by Davis from behind, got the puck deep. However, Dombrowski fanned on it. Oh, he lifted his head and he missed it. He was right in tight. And we're going to get a penalty on Fleming, and that's probably the right call. Diaz was trying to get the corner on him, and Fleming got both a stick and a hand up high, and he's going to get called for a hold, I assume, and that's what it is. Yeah, I don't think you can argue a whole lot about that one. It'll be third power play here for Aurora. 0 for 2 thus far. They look good on the last one, but could not get one past Hunter Garvey. Draw off to my left and in the near dot. Knights push it. Alvey fighting hard. Blake Alvey's just been terrific tonight again for Deics. Into traffic. Alvey's in front. Backhand try. Kicker was made there, and now the Knights will go on the power play as the clear happens immediately. St. Norbert gets their third power play. What effort by Blake Alvey. We'll wait and see if we see Morris anymore tonight. This one blockered up to the far corner, and Knights will have to come back out of their zone to play it. Kufis, oh no, a no-look pass from Kufis. Fumbled a bit by Sedlacek, and it would have been an offside. And the Knights, for whatever reason, dared him to touch it, and that wasted more time off the clock. Occasionally, TJ Kufis is prone to that no-look backhand pass, and it unfortunately looks like that more often than it becomes something magical. Here's Hansen. Hansen drops for Beam, blocked. Going down to eat that one was Andrew Schultz. Brave play there by Schultz with 45 left on the power play. Credit him for giving up his body there, the sophomore out of Dexter, Michigan. Lindstrom. That as you go into the NCAA, if that happens, you may be on the road for a first round game next week, and likely either of these teams would be playing a first round game in front, and Hay could not handle it to get it on net. Beam turns it over, and firing wide as he slipped down was Landry Schmuck. Knights struggling to get it out of their zone right now. Sent straight through the slot over the near side for Hassan Ackel. Don't want to see Aurora get on the board quickly here in the third. Beam forced it the length. They waved off icing on deflection. That puck really slid a long way all the way back in, and Dombrowski with a big hit behind the play on Landry Schmuck. Knights are going to continue and forces it to the corner near side. Santa Lucia goes after it there. Ginger follows him. This is going to be an icing call, I believe, and it will be on Aurora. So they don't get an opportunity to change. I started saying during that last period that we had some blast from the past. Wynn Hendrickson and Blake Sorensen. 7 and 27 were their numbers, respectively. They both graduated in 99, I think, somewhere in that range. We're in attendance and are in attendance tonight, making the trip up from the greater Chicago area. Alvey on the near side, swats it into the neutral zone. I appreciate Blake Sorensen letting me know through some social media yesterday that he was coming up. I haven't seen Wynn Hendrickson probably since he graduated, which is a long, long time ago. Always good to see. I'm going to say old faces, but I don't want to say that about them because that makes me even. It's always good to hear. I know that when you visited, had a chance to talk and let me know that you're frequent listeners of the broadcast, and glad that you sent Mark Snar here to St. Norbert and that your family has been listeners and viewers throughout, and we're glad to bring that to you. Icing call again against Aurora, so back into the Spartan end with 15:53 left in the game, and the Knights up 3 at 3-0. Even though I think the selection show, I read something earlier this spring. I'm going to call it spring because it's meteorological spring now, but I read something earlier, a month or so ago, that unlike the last number of years where the bracket for the NCAAs was announced on Monday, that there would be an announcement on Sunday night this year for either one of these teams to learn their fate. And I think part of that is you pretty much know the field. Here's Mitchell, and that goes off a leg toward the corner. Portillo up high for Deics. Back to Portillo. That was read beautifully on the play by Jackson Kirk. Great recovery by Deics to take Kirk off the puck. They collide together into the glass. Really neither hit either. Slid across, though, on the turnover. Fed right out in front for Santa Lucia. Couldn't make good contact. The Knights will win it back. Aurora with a flurry there. It's out of the zone now. Davis falls down, and oh no! That was not a trip. Davis turning around just outside the blue line, and that didn't feel like it. Didn't feel like a trip, but that's the call. Power play for Aurora. It'll be their fourth. 0 for 3. So listening tonight and watching. Face off to the near side. Lindstrom on the draw. And it'll go to the corner and handled by Santa Lucia. Works his way out. Santa Lucia will fire one up over and off the back glass. Knights bank it out beautifully. Nice job by Deics up for Hansen. Finds a lane, and a pillow save had to be made. 2 seconds left on the power play. More body contact on the far wall. That might be the first time a Green Knight has fallen. Pressured. Wraps it back behind the net. Lindstrom will go right behind the cage. Centered for Dombrowski. Near side Fleming. Sends that one well wide, but getting the blocker out there anyway was O'Donnell, and centering attempt here broken up and sent out of the zone. Deics will scoop it and wrap it, and St. Norbert makes a line change except for Dombrowski, who's either going to double shift or he is going to come off a little later. the Ginger, it's an interesting mix here for St. Norbert right now with Ginger out there with Dombrowski. Dombrowski comes off and Beam out there. And I know there were just some special team situations, so they're just trying to piece everything back together. Here comes Beam. The Knights was Kristen. Here's Hansen out front and a tied up stick there that time on the blast attempt from Severson. To the corner, Code along with Kristen, who pushed it behind Code, but it's held in, sent to Code behind the net, who's I think hurt a little bit. Schultz trying to get it there. Code not looking too spry at the moment. Hansen plays it up and he's checked to the wall. Code making his way slowly off to his bench, I think. And he does, gets the change. Many Gray Horses will settle and the Knights knock it away from him. The Knights lifted the link. This is going to be icing though, as they're not on a penalty kill. And with 9:07 in the game, the Knights holding a 3-goal advantage. Face-off comes back in their end. And all the Knights need to do is keep possessing the puck. Keep getting it out of your zone. You don't need anything too special. Diaz, right side of the right circle, to the goal line. Puck bouncing, sent on net, and a good stop by Garvey in the right place. Trying to drop a center there that time was Schmidt. The Knights intercept. Some good puck movement there for the Spartans. Hit from the side there for the Knights, right at the red line. Deics off the wall. And up for Portillo now. Portillo against the world. Goose 1-on-4 and held it out there long enough to get a full change behind him. And the Knights get another poke check. Puck is being carried toward the net. We'll wrap it over to the near side, off the draw, lifted up and out. Code hustled to be able to turn it back around Dombrowski. Morris got there, past Many Gray Horses and out through the neutral zone. Icing waved off as the puck slowed in the snow in front of the Aurora bench. Many Gray Horses far side to and then lifted up into the rafters by Santa Lucia. It allows a change, but happened in his own end. That was a puck that was still on the rise. That was going to go a long way up in the air. Not sure if he accidentally caught it on end or what may have occurred there. Face off in the dot. Knights win it. Back for Morris. Portillo will chase now in the corner and he's hit into the glass. Took a little contact from Schmidt there that time, and Santa Lucia did the same from Portillo. Riley and Portillo down there. Portillo out for Hammond, who pulled one just wide. There was some room inside that near post. There's Deics. Right back into the corner. 2:40 left. Wait and see what happens with the goaltender here. Down 3, but there's no tomorrow. Sent toward Garvey. He will make the catch. I would expect the timeout here from Aurora. I would be surprised if Jason Blumenberg doesn't use it here. Referee's looking right into the bench. 3-0 the score. Face-off in the Green Knight end. Now we'll get it. Timeout noise, but that goal at 17:42 will go to Sedlacek. And we still don't have an empty net. Now we might, not yet. In tight. Knights knock Schmidt down and Knights force it out, but still not pulling the goaltender down. 2. Banked off the glass, centered out. Knights get a chance, and Lindstrom's shot gobbled up on the play by Matt O'Donnell. I'm confused. I could see down 3, there's a rationale to not do it. I still think when your season is potentially on the line, you would do it. I don't think there's a goal differential calculation in where you end up in NPI. Maybe that's what this is about. I'm not aware of one. Play it out to the far side. Deics forces it across the red line. Tripped up is Byrne. No call. Clear trip on that far side. 1:40 left. Still in net is O'Donnell, and I don't know why. 2 goals down. You are within striking distance. Now he comes off. Wow, very late. Puck caught up in the near corner. Bank it out. This would be offside, but it comes off Byrne. Byrne caught up with it right at the blue line, wins it away. He sends one behind the net. Down to 1:10 left. Knights up a pair. Now the net is empty. Waited till 1:27 left on the clock. Bouncing puck guided aside by Garvey. Under a minute now. Let's not make this any closer than it needs to be, folks. Near side. Sedlacek sends it low. It's off the side of the cage by Ackle. And then over to the far wall. Blocked by Dombrowski. And Gilman picks it up in the near corner. Still battling there and holding Gilman along with Dombrowski. 29 seconds left. Clock is winding. Puck is moving. What effort by Gilman and Dombrowski. And then Deics picks it clean. Deics reverses at the goal line. Tries to hold it himself. Alvey is checked. Puck gets out of the zone. 14 seconds left. Knights up a pair at 3-1, and they're offside. Face-off in the neutral zone, and that's going to do it, folks. Darn near mathematically impossible in 9.6 seconds. The Knights lead it 3-1. Still don't know why Coach Bloomingberg waited until 1:27 to pull goaltender. That's reverse of the trend we've typically seen.